Hey guys, it's Memorizer92. As you guys already know, KR got the balance patch in the live server. And today, I'm gonna cover Hammer of Rage Destroyer Guide, which is the version after the balance patch. I know there are some people looking for a gravity training guide, but to be honest, I don't know well how to run gravity training destroyer after the patch, and even most of KR people seem to struggle finding the optimized build. Anyways, I tried to make the video as short as possible and hope this video helps you guys a lot. Then let's get started. First one is quick summary of who Destroyer is and how his playstyle is. Destroyer is really slow and most of his skills are charging skills as well. But in exchange of the speed, Destroyer has the second highest health and armor in Lost Ark, right after Gun Lancer. And some of his skills provide a lot of shield along with incoming damage reduction and immunity from knockout attacks. Also, it does the highest stagger in Lost Ark with insane amount of skills that have destruction rate. Literally 6 skills that he actually run have it. Let's look at the playstyle. Destroyer has 3 cores in the middle of the identity UI right here. And if you see his skills, some are blue and some are purple. Whenever you land blue skills on the mob, you get 1 to 3 cores depending on which blue skill you use. If you use purple skills, these skills consume all the cores you gathered and do the damage scaled with the amount of cores. It also gives you shield. So purple skills are the skills that does the actual DPS, and you want to use these skills having 3 cores. Whenever you use the purple skills, you can see that the gauge on both sides of the cores gets filled up, this part right here. Like whenever I use the purple skills, see the gauge. As you can see, the gauge is being filled up. When your gauge is full, let me adjust this like this. When your gauge is full, by using up all the gauge, you will be able to press Z key, which will activate gravity mode. In this mode, you can only use auto attack, which will be enhanced. You can cancel the mode by pressing X key. Now let's go for the builds. Well, currently, there are 2 comprehensive builds depending on which class engraving you go for. One is called Hammer of Rage, and the other one is called Gravity Training. Gravity Training increases damage and crit rate of auto attacks from gravity mode, and it also restores gauge naturally even if you don't use purple skills. The other engraving, Hammer of Rage, increases crit rate and crit damage of all the purple skills depending on how many cores you consume. Since this video is for Hammer of Rage, that's the build we're gonna go for. First one is the stats. Specialization increases the damage of purple skills and auto attacks from gravity mode. It also increases the restoration of gauge. Crit is important for Destroyer since most of the skills that Destroyer has do single hit. Most of the people go for either crit and spec or crit, spec, and swiftness. Well, the crit spec build will do much damage, but it's gonna be less stable compared to the crit, spec, and swiftness build. Whereas crit, spec, swiftness build will be more stable to land the skills, but it will do less damage compared to crit and spec build. Now the skills. I'm only going to go over the skills that lots of destroyers use. Okay, blue skills first. Well, first one is called Heavy Crush. This skill only charges single core. If you see here, it charges single core. Well, but it has very short cooldown, which fits well when charging cores with other blue skills. And for the tripod, you want to use this one right here that reduces the motion time. For the rune, I'm using the Rage rune, but you can use anything else. The next one is called Jumping Smash. Well, this skill charges 2 cores. After the patch, almost all of people seem to run this skill since it has short cooldown and it allows you to move forward. Also, it has synergy tripod. Well, starting from here, this tripod increases the distance of movement. And this one is the synergy tripod that decreases all armor on the mobs that got hit by 12% for 14 seconds. And this one makes this skill to let you move forward. Since the cooldown of this skill is 16 seconds, if you run Swiftness on stat and CDR gem on this skill, theoretically, you can apply this synergy infinitely. For the rune, I'm using Overwhelm, but you can use anything else. The next one is called Dreadnought. This skill charges 2 cores. This is one of the counter skills that Destroyer has. Well, starting from here, this tripod gives you immunity from knockout attacks. This one reduces the incoming damage while in motion. And this one allows you to hit once more, which will make you easier to counter. For the rune, I'm using Protection Rune since it synergies well with the tripods. There are some other people who use Power Strike as their counter skill. This skill charges 2 cores. When compared to Dreadnought, this skill doesn't have destruction rate and does not have immunity either from push or knockout attack, but it can counter faster and it has synergy tripod. Well, starting from here, this one increases attack speed and this one decreases the mob's armor by 12% for 10 seconds. Well, you can pick either Dreadnought or Power Strike in your flavor. The next skill is called Endure Pain. This skill charges 3 cores and gives you immunity from knockout attack and reduces incoming damage by 40% for 5 seconds. Well, starting from this tripod right here, this tripod increases the range of skill by 25%, and this one enables the skill to taunt the mobs for 3 seconds. And lastly, this one increases the duration time of this skill for another 5 seconds if you're at level 5. Well, you can also use this tripod which reduces incoming damage by 90% instead of going for first one right here. For the rune, I'm using Focus Rune. Now let's move on to the purple skills which do the actual damage. This skill is called Earth Eater. It has the highest stagger rate in the Lost Ark. Well, starting from here, this tripod increases the damage. This one gives you immunity from knockout attacks. And this one turns the skill into charging skill, which also increases damage at the same time. Well, for the rune, I'm using Gale Wind. You can also use Overwhelm. The next skill is called Full Swing. Well, it is a charging skill. Starting from here, this tripod increases the attack speed, and this one increases damage whenever he swings with this skill. And this one also increases the damage. For the rune, I'm using the Overwhelm rune. The next skill is Perfect Swing. This is the strongest skill that Destroyer has, and it's a charging skill. Well, starting from this tripod right here, this one increases damage, and this one increases damage as well, and lastly, this one also increases the damage as well. For the rune, I'm using the Gale Wind. The next skill is called Seismic Hammer. This skill got nerfed and now does the lowest damage among 4 purple skills. Well, starting from this tripod right here, this tripod gives you immunity from knockout attack. This one increases the damage, and this one also increases the damage as well. For the rune, I'm using the Gale Wind. The last skill is Awakening. For Hammer of Rage, you wanna take the second Awakening, which is called Big Bang, since it does more damage than the first one, which is called Terra Break. And by the way, this skill is holding skill. When it comes to engravings, well, these 4 engravings right here are kinda fixed. Grudge increases your damage by 20%, Supercharge increases damage by 20%, and charging speed by 40% for all the charging skills. If you see here, Destroyer runs 3 charging skills that does DPS out of 4. And Hammer of Rage, which is the class engraving, well, what it does exactly is that it increases the crit rate by 5% and crit damage by 15% per consumed core for all the purple skills. So at max core, which is 3, when you use the purple skill, it will increase the crit rate by 15% and crit damage by 45% on that skill. And Barricade, that increases your damage by 16% when you have Shield, which is a perfect engraving for Destroyer, since purple skills give you Shield whenever you use it when you have the core. For the 5th engraving, if you want higher return with higher risk, Master Brawler is the choice. But if you want less return with less risk, then Cursed Doll is the choice. Well, if you want 2 of level 3, then Supercharge and Hammer of Rage is what you want to go. If you want 3 of level 3, then Supercharge, Hammer of Rage, and the last one should be either Grudge or Barricade. If you want to run 4 of level 3, then that will be Supercharge, Hammer of Rage, Grudge, and Barricade. For the gems, you want to run attack gems on all these purple skills that actually do the DPS. And for the rest of the 7 slots, you want to run cooldown reduction gems for whatever skill you want to go for. Well, for the card set, 18 plus Awakening on Light Salvation is the best, but if you don't have it, Awakening on 12 plus Lost Wind Cliff is the next option. And if you don't have this one as well, then any card set will be fine. Well guys, that's all for today. If you liked the video, please hit the subscribe and follow my Twitch stream. Thanks for watching and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.